Hey YouTube, Sign here, back with another video, and it's my favorite video series for which to be looking at today, which will be a Wenjin video. And what's Wenjin we're talking about? The upcoming Wenjin banner for Caesar King. This Wenjin banner will have the very first S rank Wenjin for defense, so it will be a pretty important banner for people, as we did just get a new defense character in Seth, and so people may be looking at other ways to utilize this new defensive Wenjin. So if you don't know what Wenjin we're talking about, it's going to be Tusk of Fury, which will have its raid up. There will also be a raid up for Anton's Wenjin and Piper Wenjin, which are A ranks. However, neither of these Wenjins are good enough for me to recommend pulling for them in particular. So you should only really focus on Caesar's Wenjin and ignore the other two. Piper's Wenjin is a little bit more unique for her in particular because of how her EX special attack works. Yes, but I don't really recommend going out of your way for Piper, this in my personal opinion. So if you're pulling on Caesar's Wenjin banner, you should only be pulling for Tusk of Fury. And if you don't know what Tusk of Fury does, let's go over it really quick. It will boost the amount of shield value provided by the equipper by 30%. When any squad member triggers Interrupt or Perfect Dodge, all squad members' damage increased by 18%, and damage dealt increases by 12% for 20 seconds. Passive effects of the same name do not stack. Now, we should know by now what Perfect Dodge is. If you don't, it's when you dodge when a boss hits you. It's do a perfect dodge. Now, Interrupt. This might be a little bit more confusing, and even I'm a bit confused because I looked it up in game and I couldn't find it. Now, the way I interpret this is when the enemy is pushed back by usually an attack that has the words anti-interrupt in it, that is a interrupt. That's how I look at it. I could be wrong, and take this with a grain of salt if anybody want to confirm that. Unfortunately, I am looking at this on the creator experience server, and when you do a perfect dodge or interrupt in the game, it does not actually show the buff being up for Tusk of Fury. So I don't know exactly what interrupt is, but I'm under the impression that it's going to be when you stop the enemy's attack, and they usually do like a stagger moment. Usually it's very common if you use it with Ellen. Ellen's EX special attack is very good at doing this. That tail is strong as hell, but that's what the Wenjin does. Now, with these type of videos, I don't just talk about the Wenjin, I want to show you all the Wenjins. So I have a nice little video where we have a bunch of solo runs. Solo runs are just going to show you the difference between each Wenjin in particular and what they provide for Caesar King. And we'll have a team run. I've now decided to add a team run. Somebody mentioned adding it for like doing a shield defense, just so that people can have a quick thing to look at. I was against it because it's not consistent. And in my video, the video right here, I had a run that's a god run, and I'll go over it when we get there, but it's not consistent, so I don't really like doing it personally. But for you guys, I will do it because I got asked. So we'll be looking at the team run in Disputed Node 8, which is the highest level. I couldn't do the new shield defense because there's new enemies in there on this creator server, so I'm not allowed to do that at this time. Let's just go over to the solo run and let's talk about all that stuff. So I have it set up where the goal here in the solo run is just to take a hit so we can activate her buffs, and you can see the damage dealt with her counter and the damage she takes on the so when she does her when she gets her shield, it's going to show at the icon that's kind of like a stamina gauge type thing, similar to Breath of the Wild or Genshin. This bar gets reduced when you take damage, so you can see here as you take hits, the bar is being reduced, so you can see the difference between each and every Wenjin on how much bar you really have. The damage taken is going to vary based on how much defense it gives. For example, some Wenjins give a boosted defense, like Big Cylinder. Some Wenjins give a damage reduction, like Spring Embrace. So the amount of damage that Caesar takes is not going to be consistent. So I would recommend focusing on the bar itself and looking at the difference between each bar. And keep in mind that the bar is shared between all your characters, so you want to keep that in mind. Now, in terms of what gives the best stun, we also have stun here. Look at the stun meter, or the percent number that is from each counter. You can see that the best stun by far is the signature, doing 97%. After that, we have original trance, which gives a boost to impact when you get hit. Keep in mind, you do need to, when you get attacked, I believe the text, not hit, just when you get attacked. So when you do the counter, you get the attack, and then you can get that boost. And then lastly, we have Spring Embrace being the third best option for a stunner. So if you're looking at wanting to build Caesar as a stunner, those three are generally going to be your best options. Big Cylinder, Bunny Band, and Peacekeeper, they're all on the same playing field. Now, in terms of damage, we're looking at Signature being the highest damage, at least on the counter. Peacekeeper being second, Bunny Band, Spring, Big Cylinder, and then original Transmogrifier, I think, Trans something, original Trans. That's just looking at them in them by themselves. One thing I like to mention is while original Trans has really low damage, it's really good for stunning. So it depends on what you want to do with your Caesar in particular. I do plan on making a video where we go over each individual build just to get an idea on how each build works in tandem with each other. So maybe like a DPS build versus like a stunner build versus anomaly build, and just check. Let me know if you guys want to see that in a video, but that's kind of where we're going, or that's what I'm planning on going. So, but for now, we're going to go over to the team section now. Now, I talked about I had one run with a really outlier. We're going to just go from worst to best. So take these runs with a grain of salt. One, Thanatos, I think Thanatos, right? That's his name, I believe. He's a ass. Oh my God, he teleports so much. Consistency here, no consistency. You're praying that you get good runs. I did multiple runs with each team because it's not consistent, and it drives me insane. It really drives me insane. Like, I was losing my mind. I just wanted something consistent. I had to do this mode. I would have loved to do shield defense because I don't want to deal with a teleporting boss. Teleporting boss that can teleport away. Oh my God, it's like fighting a Kuma or something. It's awful. Oh no, I don't like it. But we had to work with what we had. So for the worst run we had was Bunny Band. Bunny Band was very close to original Trans. They're like neck and neck. It kind of comes down to one, they don't have the greatest damage. The stun was great on original, but it doesn't have any good damage either. So it was kind of weird. I think I had Caesar in for a little bit too long in the fight, personally. I could have played a little bit better. As I played throughout each and every run, I did get better. So I went back and did a couple runs over because I felt bad about them. So I think that's okay-ish for the run itself. Those two were pretty much, they were a good distance from the other two, which the next two will end up being, we have kind of like a three-way tie, which will be Big Cylinder, Spring, and Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper had the worst run of the three, but as I mentioned, one had a God run, which Peacekeeper did have that God run, which was very close to the signature run. So you can see that the God run, I got a 117. I don't know how, because the signature got 115. And I believe it's just because everything lined up really well, and I had the shield up when Goblin was hitting me. The whole point of these like runs here is for me to be aggressive. I'm attacking them nonstop because I want to show the point of having a shielder is that you can just, unga bunga. Like, what the point of me having a shield character if I don't unga bunga? Like, I'm going to unga bunga so that, stuff is happening and I'm just ignoring things. That's the whole point. If I'm going to play defensive, it kind of removes the point of having a defense character. You play a defense character so you can turn off your brain. So that was the whole point of this run. You can see with Peacekeeper run, it was crazy. I don't know what I was doing. I was cracked out my mind. I tried to replicate this many times on this signature run, and I could not get a good run where it was like the signature run was like a 1 minute clear. The best I was able to do was 115, and I got that, I think, my second clear or my first clear. So I went back multiple times. I tried like 5-6 times, and I couldn't replicate like that perfect run that I got with Peacekeeper. So just take this part with a grain of salt. You can see all the numbers there. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I do appreciate you for making it this far. I know it's kind of a little bit of rambling. It's late night. Whatever. I don't care anymore. I thank you guys for watching. If you like this type of content, leave a like, sub, all that stuff. It does help the channel. With that, I'm gonna catch you guys in my next video. Let me know how you feel about things. Until then, I'll see you next time. Later.